Hello again everybody, this is Steigerton with an action figure review. Today we'll be looking at the Figma Void and Ubik from the Berserk anime. These guys have taken quite a while to reach me. They were stuck in customs or something of that sort. So I'd pre-ordered them last fall in I think October or so, and the payment went through and they shipped it, and then I got stuck for about a month. So that's the reason this review's been a bit delayed, but here they are now, so we can take a look at what these guys are all about. From the bottom to the top, it's just about a centimeter to 2 centimeters shy of a foot, so it's a foot tall, and the best I can measure it with just this ruler, it's 12, so say about 17 inches across. So it's a pretty substantial sized box. The width is about 8.25, almost 8.5. So yeah, the box is pretty enormous. There's some pictures on the back there of all the different ways you can display him, and here's all the rest of the god hand, of course. So yeah, the box is enormous. The trays that come in the box are pretty enormous. So here's Void. Void stands at about 9 inches to the top of the center spike on his collar. So that's keeping with the scale that they've established for the Berserk figures. And yeah, so he's pretty well detailed even in this form, right? And we'll get into the open cape and so forth in a bit, but he's definitely got a lot of, you know, just kind of adornments with his robe here, his cape, and you can see the face, right? Face is very well in character. His mouth is horrifying. He's got like a giant brain, and you can see that there, and right, you can see all the lines. So he's just not pleasant to look at all, but that is kind of the idea behind a lot of the design for the god hand. And the articulation on the head here is on a ball joint, so he can look around in this form of display, right? So this particular setup for him is hollow, right? And you can see there. You can't see it too well on camera, and I apologize for that, but the interior leading up to the upper body there is very well detailed, as you know, of what internal organs would look like. So here's Ubik, and as with the Figma Slan, if you see my review of Figma Slan, Slan came packaged with Conrad, the other member of the God Hand, and they mainly did that, I think, because if they were going to include Ubik or Conrad together or separate, they just would not have sold them, because they are incredibly small and they are not articulated hardly at all. So I remember with Conrad, it was mainly just the head that could move, but the overall detail was very authentic to the source material. So that was a big point on those. So you can see here he's got a lot of the detail that you would expect. So he's got a lot of fins, because he does just kind of float through the air almost as if he's swimming, and so he's very well detailed. The picture on the box shows his face particularly more pale. There's a little bit more shading in and around the face, and the teeth they kind of pop out there, but it's very well detailed with the creases and the veins, and you know, the design of his glasses, the way that they're affixed to his face, and he's got a lot of wrinkles under his chin there. So he's very well detailed for a small figure that's not so much an accessory, because he is another character from the anime, but he's got a lot of you know, things that maybe could have been added for articulation, but he does come with two hands here. So if I can get this out. Right, so these just plug in on the arms like so, and they're in like an L shape there. Right, so you can see that, and that just plugs in to the arm there. And there are two others, so you can have either his open hands, or you can have him grasping his hands, you know, as he does quite often. You could make him clasp his hands like so. Okay, so I'm not going to change those out, but you can see that you can fit those into the to the parts on the side there. Now his head is on a ball peg there, ball joint, and that just plugs in there. Because the head doesn't really move a lot, I always like to have it just kind of sticking out a little bit, so that you can get him to move the head around quite a bit more, either up or down or side to side, or however you want it. So I do like that they included that as a feature and did not have the face affixed inside the rest of the body. So, you know, and you can get him to hang upside down with his hands clasped, because he does do that pose a little bit in the anime and the manga. So yeah, overall he's very good. Oh, and there's a peg hole there for the stand. So Void comes with a lot of things, and one of the accessories is the base here, which does contain a lot of the trapped souls that you would see during the eclipse. And this is it's got some weight to it. It's not heavy. I placed it only a few grams or whatever, but it's definitely got some weight to it. So that is mainly, I think, to support the size that he will amount to. We'll get to that in a bit, but he does become an even larger figure due to the amount of accessories. So it's kind of like that on the bottom, and you can see it's very well detailed. Each face is painted, each face is sculpted. You know, there's a lot of just kind of interchangeability into how they're layered. You can see there's a lot of faces just kind of underneath other faces. So, and there is a hole there, so I'll show you what that's for, because he does come with a spine, right? And the spine just kind of plugs in there. So here we are at stage 2, I guess, of this video, because, like I said, there is an enormous amount of things to go through on this figure, and I'd like to cover as much of them as I can without making it a hour-long video. So here is Void in his unrobed part. So you can basically see the top half sort of just lifts out of the hollow point here, right? So you've got, right, here's the top, and that's the bottom, obviously, and so he just kind of lifts out of there. There's a bunch of pegs and stuff that you can fit into the part up here. You can see kind of what I was talking about before, so like all the internal organs there, but he doesn't have a heart, so you can confirm, as far as the action figure of Void is concerned, that Void just does not have a heart. So the arms are very thin, not, you know, fragile, but you definitely don't want to reef on them or do too much with them that are going to cause them to break. The hands, on the other hand, you know, they are very kind of spindly, and they're not, you know, they're not pliable, so you wouldn't want to do too much with those either, because you could get the fingers to break off. And I have had experiences trying to glue a lot of these kinds of things back together, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So be very careful with that. And so yeah, he does have articulation where he can bend at the elbow, and the arms at the shoulder, I guess, are on a ball joint, and they can swivel like so and go up and down and backwards and forth, of course. So I'm going to move on here and try and get the rest of him assembled, and we can see what he looks like with the rest of his cloak. So it took quite a while, but I finally got Boyd to his intended extended cloak look. So there is a construction manual that comes with him, and that is highly important, because the let's fold it up like so, because the amount of details that you got to think about how the whole thing fits together. There are several overlapping layers of the cloak, and I've just kind of got it pieced together as best I can. It's not the best looking. This part goes on the back here, and this that fell off. But you get the general idea. It does come off into several different, almost fin-like pieces. So you get a total of, well, there's two side ones, one on the front, one on the back, and then two underlapping pieces. So you can see there's the spinal column there. The hands can plug into the pegs there, so you can get him with an extended arm look. And the way you basically put him together with the outstretched cloak is these pieces have to come off. Right, so there are three pieces of that that come off of the upper body there. So those have to come off in order for the figure to have the cloak extended there. So and like I said, you can put the arms underneath. It's quite a task, and he does get quite heavy. So in order to counter that, they included an extended, far larger extended kind of stand that can be pegged into the holes. As you can see down there, there's a lot of holes just kind of on the base. So those do come into play if you're trying to get those arms and so forth put up, and you just use one of these on each arm in order for it to support the weight. Is it worth the amount of money? Ranging in about $200 to over $200. I would say so, especially if you're a hardcore Berserk collector, hardcore Berserk fan. Then yes, I would highly recommend getting this figure. So I've just got Void back to his original appearance here, just for the last bit of this review, just so he's not taking up the entire frame. So the other accessories that come with Void are the the hands, obviously. So here is one of the arms, and the hands do peg into the wrist like so, and like I said, they are quite large hands. So he comes with a kind of open stretched hand, right? Very skeletal looking, very well detailed, all the bone structure showing through. The palms are very veiny, and just overall very well designed. Pointing finger, pointing hand, and that is also a very well detailed partially closed hand. He can't really hold anything, but it's designed to be in that kind of look. And lastly, we have the very thin, very transparent brand of Sacrifice, which is of course what the God Hand uses to mark all the sacrifices used in an eclipse ceremony. So it's very important that void comes with that. And that just pegs into the open stretched hand here, so you can put that in like so. Right, and it is extremely thin, so very delicate action should be taken when applying it, because you could easily snap that off. So that's all there is to it. So the like I said, the figure comes with an enormous amount of accessories in order to give him the proper look. You know, he comes with Ubik, and the details on him are, I feel, worth the price point if you are a Berserk fan. So yeah, I would highly recommend this figure, and I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope it didn't turn out too long, but yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.